Once again, welcome everyone to our live webinar for e-auction. My name is Alina and I'm in charge of the customer success team at Prokuria. I know you all have very busy schedules, so thank you very much for taking the time to be with us. A few housekeeping items before we get started. My colleague Eugene and I will share with you today how to launch a reverse auction in Prokuria for generating both cost and time savings. We'll also explain how to improve your sourcing process by increasing supplier competition, improving transparency and traceability. This should take us about 25 minutes, and at the end of the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session for 5 minutes. Please feel free to ask questions through the chat at any point during the presentation. We will respond in the final part of the webinar, the Q&A session. If we'll not manage to address all your questions today, we'll make sure to come back to you by email. Also, we will get back to everyone with the recording of the webinar. Feel free to rewatch it, get back to us with questions, or share it with your colleagues. So, this being covered, we are ready to start the presentation. Eugene, you can take over from here.
Thank you very much, Alina. Hello, everyone. My name is Eugene, and I'm a Business Development Manager at Prokuria. First of all, thank you all very much for taking the time to join our webinar. We hope that you will find the information useful and helpful for your sourcing needs going further. If you've joined this demo, you're probably starting to notice that organizing your sourcing events or your supplier database just with emails and Excel files isn't good enough or efficient anymore. Maybe you're looking for a system to help you stay on top of everything. Well, that's what Prokuria is. It's a cloud-based platform used for automating sourcing and supplier management. When we talk about sourcing, we mean launching events like RFIs, RFQs, RFPs, reverse auctions, Dutch auctions, or dynamic allocation auctions. Related to supplier management, our tool can help with supplier relationship management, segmentation, performance reviews, onboarding, and scorecards. Moreover, in the last few months, we have also implemented some new modules, the purchase request and the interactive PO modules, which have been the subject of our last webinars. You can check them on our website. Now that you're familiarized with what Prokuria does, let's shortly go through the agenda of today's webinar. And I will quickly share my screen. So on today's agenda, we have, first of all, a short introduction, which Alan and I just did. After that, we will have a short reverse auction overview. Next, we will see an actual reverse auction demo in Prokuria. And last but not least, we'll have a short Q&A session. So this being said, let's go to the first section, which is the reverse auction overview. So regarding the reverse auction, I'm certain the information will not necessarily be something new to our audience, but as I said earlier, it will only serve to provide some context to the webinar. A reverse auction is a fixed duration sourcing event in which multiple suppliers compete for certain products or services by bidding the price down. From our experience and our clients' experience, this type of sourcing event works best in a buyer's market for sourcing commodities and simple services. Some examples would include raw materials, office supplies, accounting services, etc. The entire concept of the reverse auction is to have direct and transparent competition between suppliers. Therefore, it is great to have around 5 to 7 or even more suppliers bidding in a reverse auction. There are many advantages to this type of sourcing event, like the ability to generate cost savings and maximize time savings. Usually the sweet spot for reverse auction duration is somewhere close to 30 minutes, not taking into consideration all potential extensions. We will go more in depth on this in the actual demo. Also, as the suppliers compete by lowering the price, your cost savings will go up. From our experience, an average figure would be between 5 to 10% cost savings, especially if we are operating in a buyer's market, which can generate hundreds of thousands of euros in cost savings. Obviously, there are also disadvantages to the reverse auction. For example, if the number of suppliers that can offer a certain good or service is very low, then the auction is bound in most cases to not be successful. Competition is low, the changes in the bids will be insignificant, and hence the potential for cost savings goes down drastically. This is why we recommend reverse auctions when there is a healthy number of suppliers that can offer those particular goods or services. Also, there is another risk of focusing on the best price but compromising on quality, which we don't want to happen. A buyer must be very adamant in enforcing and communicating the required specifications to the suppliers, ensuring they get the best goods or services. For this, we recommend running an RFI or an RFQ beforehand to acquire all the necessary information from the suppliers, qualify the ones which meet all the quality requirements and any other requirements, and then go for the maximum cost savings within a reverse auction. Now that we've covered the basics of a reverse auction, let's jump into the platform and see how the auction works. And let's go to the next section of our webinar, which is an actual reverse auction in Prokuria. works. So let me just jump into the platform, and let's see, first of all, the dashboard. So this is the main dashboard of Prokuria for everyone who hasn't seen our platform already. Here we can see all our active sourcing events, and also we organize the sourcing events into projects, which are here on the left side. The projects can be related to departments, the products that you're buying, subsidiaries, or you can also put all your sourcing events into one single project. That also works. Now let's go to the events page where we can see all our active all our sourcing events, which are at first organized and grouped by the project. However, we can group them by the status or by owner, or not group them at all. This view here is fully customizable. We can change this view. We can delete some of the columns, for example. We can add some other criteria in order for you to get the most out of your sourcing events. And for example, once we modify all of the columns here, we can simply save this view for future usage. And when we have everything ready here, let's simply start a new reverse auction by clicking the Add Event button. Here we see all the sourcing events that we can launch, RFIs, RFQs, and also all types of auctions. And we will choose the reverse auction. We will choose a project. And after that, we will be redirected to the auction creation page. So for the purpose of this demo, we'll suppose that we want to organize a reverse auction for the IT department and buy some IT equipment like laptops, displays, and headphone sets. So basically, let's say an early Christmas gift for the IT department. And let's create this auction from scratch. So in the general information section, we will put, first of all, we'll put a name for the auction. And after that, we will put a description. Description should be as detailed as possible because this description will be, let's say, will be seen by your suppliers. After we set this up, we will set the currency in which we want to receive the bids. We can also set budgets, which cannot be seen by the suppliers, and we can also define cost centers. The cooldown period refers to a certain period of time before the auction ends. I'll just give you an example. So if we set the cooldown period, as I did here, to 2 minutes, then in the last 2 minutes of the auction, if a bid is placed that changes the ranking, and that certain bid gets the first ranking, then the end time of the auction is automatically reset to 2 minutes. And this happens until no one submits any bids in these last 2 minutes that change the first place. Of course, this is just an example. You can set the cooldown period to how many minutes you need. But word of advice, if you give a long cooldown period, be prepared for a long extension of the auction. We will then set a start date and an end date. So basically when the auction starts and when it will end. So when it will end, basically the suppliers won't be able to submit bids anymore. We can put the starting time whenever we need. Usually you should give some time to the suppliers to prepare. However, we will start the auction right away in order to showcase how it works. On the advanced settings pages where the strategic part of the auction happens, you can choose to show, for example, the best bid to the suppliers, so they know at all times what is the best bid and what they need to bid to get to the first place. You can also choose to show them the ranking, so they know what is the ranking in the auction. And now is where things get interesting. We can either have suppliers submit bids for all of the items in the auction, so bid at a lot level basically, or we can have an auction at an item level. So the suppliers will submit bids for each of the items. They can know the best bid for each item and the ranking for each item. Of course, if you as a buyer elect to show them that info through the advanced settings. We will go with an auction at an item level, and it's also what most of our clients are using. It provides you with more in-depth analysis of each item, and there is also the case where, let's say, some suppliers won't bid on all the items, maybe because they can't provide some of the products or services that are auctioned. This way, they also get a chance at winning, at least on the items that they will bid on. It's up to you whether or not in the end you want to work with only one supplier or you are open to working with multiple ones. This depends on your strategy alone. After choosing the auction at an item level, we will choose whether we want to have a starting price and minimum step for the whole line or for each unit of measure. But we will go more in depth on that when we go to the actual items section. After After that, we will go to the supplier section where we will choose all the suppliers that want to participate in the auction. All suppliers must already be in Prokuria in the supplier directory. I will just do a very I'll do a very quick detour to show you how the supplier directory how a supplier directory looks like. So basically, this is how this is an example of a supplier directory, which is, again, this view is fully customizable. Here we can change this view. We can delete some of the columns. We can add other criteria for your suppliers for you to get the most information out of them. Here we can sort, filter. We can search for different suppliers. And after that, obviously, don't forget to save this view to use it further. We can add new suppliers by clicking on this Add Supplier button, or we can simply import your database, your pre-existing database of suppliers. We can import it with an Excel functionality. We just download the template, fill in the template, and after that, we just re-upload it with all the information. Here we can categorize the suppliers, segment them, and there are other multiple, let's say, functionalities available here, which we have shown in our Supplier Relationship Management webinar, one of our previous webinars. Now let's go back to the auction, and on the supplier side we can add them either by category. So since we want to buy equipment, we'll just choose the suppliers from this category, and also let's say I want to enter another supplier by inputting its email address. So once we have all the suppliers inserted, what we can do is we can go to the document section where we can add documents for the suppliers to download and review any kind of documents which are relevant for the auction. For example, I want to add some text specs. We can also add links here which are relevant for the suppliers. And after that, we'll arrive at the items section where we can add the items that we want our suppliers to bid on. We can add them one by one, or we can do an import with Excel functionality. We will download the template spreadsheet, fill it in, and then re-upload it. I already have the items prepared. We will just do a short import, and after that we see that we want to buy Apple MacBooks, headphone sets, and displays, 10 pieces of each. And after that, we'll add the starting price for each unit of measure, which is basically the maximum bid that the suppliers can bid, because the price will only decrease from there, and the amount with which each bid needs to decrease. So the decrement is we will also set it here. It is what I was referring to on the advanced settings page with the minimum step and starting price per unit of measure. Once we have all of this information entered, so when everything is cleared, what we will do is we will publish the auction, and I will make it so that it starts right away in just 1 minute. So once we publish the auction, we will receive a short prompt informing us that the auction has been published. We will see that shortly. And so our auction has been published, and now we will see what happens on the supplier side. Basically, the suppliers will receive an email notification, which looks like this. We have a short introduction. We have the name of the auction. We have the starting price, the end time, and also the description that the buyer has entered for us, so the suppliers know exactly what the auction is referring to. The suppliers will click on this View Event button, and they will be redirected to a secure page where they will first agree to the terms and conditions of Prokuria, and after that they will be redirected to the auction page. Here they will have to choose to participate or decline. Either way, the buyer will be notified via email of the supplier's decision. Let's now choose to participate to showcase how the auction works. One very important feature of Prokuria is that the suppliers do not need a username and password to access Prokuria. There is no supplier portal on our platform. All the suppliers have to do is access the link provided via email, which is a unique and secure link. They need to accept the terms and conditions of Prokuria, and then they are good to go. We also have a white labeling feature, which among other things can enable you to have your own terms and conditions instead of Prokuria's. You can also have your own logo in the platform. The invitation email can come from your own domain, etc. To learn more about this, please get in contact with us via the contact form on our website. So now that we have chosen to participate, we see all the information very well structured. We see the name, the description of the event, we see which is the cooldown period, the currency in which we want to receive the bids. We have all the documents available which we can download and review. And after that, we get to the, let's say we arrive to the good part, which is the actual items where we will start to bid. So we see the starting prices, and obviously we can start with these prices as a first bid. But let's say that I want to enter a bid higher than the starting price. We will see what happens when we try to do that. So it will let us know that the first bid must be lower or equal to the starting price. So once we have these parameters, our platform will keep track of them and inform us if something is wrong. Basically, if we go with the starting prices, now I see exactly which is the best bid for each item, as the buyer has elected to show us this, and also the ranking. So for the first item, for example, we see that I am ranked first, but I'm not the only bidder with this offer. And for the situation is similar to the third item, and for the second item, for the headphone sets, I am ranked second. Now we see that also for the first item, I am ranked second, as another supplier has submitted another bid. So all the suppliers can see in real time this information, the best bid and the ranking, so they can recalculate, and make sure that they can provide the best bid. So now, for example, here, if I try to submit, let's say, if I try to go for the first ranking, as you can see, there's a lot of activity going on the supplier side, as my ranking has changed, and also the best bids have changed. So everything is very dynamic, let's say. Now, when I submit this bid, I see that now I have gone to the first rank for this item, and I see that this is the best bid. And obviously, this happens on the entire duration of the auction. Also, I want to showcase something. So if previously I bid for 500 and now I try to lower it by only 1, what will happen is, basically, when I try to place my bid, it will let us know that the minimum step for my bid is 10, as I see here, and the bid must be lower or equal to a certain value. So again, we need to respect the parameters of the auction. So if I try to go, let's say, after doing my calculations, I see that I am now ranked first on all of the items. Also, if you go, for example, on the buyer side, here what will happen, we can see on the responses section, we see exactly who has how many suppliers have read the invitation, who participates, who declined the event, and who is bidding. So you have a very clear track of what your suppliers are doing. Also, let's go back to the supplier section, and let's say that a supplier wants to clarify some information with the buyer. Maybe some specs aren't clear, and they wish to clarify. You have the option to communicate with the buyer directly in Prokuria in 2 ways. The first one is through the message center, which I will showcase right now. What will happen here is the supplier can send a message to the buyer. We will put a title, we will put a type of message. We can also add some comments. We can also add some files which would be relevant for our query directed at the buyer. And when we send this message, what will happen on the buyer side is the buyer will be notified via email that has received the message. I'm now back on the buyer side, and we will see that in the message center, we'll see that we have one open message, and if you go there, we will actually see this message. And here we have 2 options in the comment section. We can either tag one colleague to help us with the supplier's question. That's one possibility. Maybe I want to tag someone from legal. Please help, with the supplier's question. That's one possibility. And after that, when we get all the information, we can also message the supplier. And when adding the comment here, the supplier will receive our message. So this is one way of communicating with our suppliers. Obviously, this functionality is available both ways. So as the supplier can contact the buyer can also broadcast messages to all of the suppliers or one supplier if needed. And also, what can happen is on the supplier side here, we also have a chat functionality, which can be used to send real-time messages. However, we do not encourage this functionality, as the time is quite limited in an auction. Time literally means money, so we encourage this to use only for very urgent situations. Please help with. Okay, just to showcase how it works. When we send this message back on the buyer side, we will see here on the supplier section, we will see the actual message from the supplier. And now I want to show you another cool functionality of Prokuria, of the reverse auctions. We have here on the buyer side, in the responses section, we have the compare responses section, which I will show you exactly what this does. So in the real-time bids, section, we see all the suppliers, all their, let's say, collective bids, when they have been done, in order to have a very clear audit of the entire auction, and when the bids have been offered. As we see, the bids are changing in real time. So whenever a bid comes in, this section is automatically refreshed. So it's quite a neat functionality. Let's say we see that my colleagues are hard at work trying to outbid me, basically. And on the compare bids section is where we see per each category, we see the best bids from each supplier. All the information is very well organized in one place. It's very easy to follow. And when the auction ends, what can be done is we can send emails to the suppliers, informing them that we either want to work with them, or maybe they didn't win the auctions, but we can send emails to them either way. Or we can also export all the bids in an Excel format where we can do some further analysis, and we can see all this information in an Excel format. And also we can, mark the items that we want to work with. We can choose maybe one item from one supplier, two from another. So it all depends on your strategy alone. And the last functionality of Prokuria, which I would like to show you in the reverse auctions, is changing the end time and the cooldown period. So we can change the end time of this event by clicking on this button, and let's say that we want to go in the last 2 minutes, of the auction. So whenever we change the end time, the suppliers are automatically notified of this. So if we go on the supplier side, I'm now on the supplier page, we see that the auction ends in 56 seconds. However, if, for example, I will place here a bid that will change the ranking, as I am now ranked first, we see that the end time has been extended because a new bid has been placed in the cooldown period, and the new end time is the following. So now the cooldown period has been reset to 2 minutes, and this will happen as we see one of my colleagues has submitted another bid, and now which has changed the ranking to first, as we can see here for the third item. And what happened is the cooldown period has been reset to 2 minutes. And this will happen until no other bids will be submitted in these last 2 minutes. That modifies the first ranking. So basically, this concludes our reverse auction in Prokuria. As a short summary, up until now, we've discussed the basics of the reverse auction. We went through an actual reverse auction through our platform, and now it's time for the Q&A section, which I will ask my colleague Galina to help with. However, just before the Q&A section, I would like to let you know that in order to test and experience what we've shown you and more, we have a 2-week free trial that you can access on our website, prokuria.com. You just click on start free trial, no credit card required, simply test the platform, see if it's a fit for you, and if you want to go more in depth or have any questions, we can schedule another demo with you and your team. Simply contact us via the contact form on our website and we'll be in touch. Now, Alina, let's see what questions we have from the audience.
Thank you, Eugene, for the excellent presentation. Really exciting, the feature for the compare responses and the screen with the real-time bids from the suppliers. We have some questions, and the first one goes like this. We are running weekly auctions. Can we create auction templates to save time? Yes, this is an excellent question. And if you can please share the platform once again, okay, and you can explain here.
Certainly. So yes, definitely we can create templates for you. What happens is you will first have to, let's say, create these templates, which we can help you with. For example, we can use the auction that I've just created as a template, and after that, what will happen is we will simply duplicate this event. We can choose the project in which this auction will be duplicated. We'll just click on save, and all of the information will be simply transferred in another event. Some of our clients, for example, are using a project only for templates, and after that they just pick whatever template they need and just replicate that template in the project that they need to. So yes, to answer the question, definitely the templates are a functionality of Prokuria.
Thank you. Another question is, what if I make a wrong bid? Is there any way to cancel a bid?
Yes, definitely we can. Definitely we can do that. So let me just real quick let me launch an auction. So the actual duplicate that I just created, I'll just launch it, because we'll need to actually have a bid to show you how it can be retracted. So just a sec. I'll just publish. Oh, just a second. I'll just put here shortly just put some fucking prices, and let me see if it works now. So the start, let's choose the start time. It can be a time in the past, of course. And now that the auction is published, what we'll do is I will invite my colleague Alina to submit a bid, and I will show you exactly how the bid can be retracted. This will be done in the responses section, where, as I showed you previously, we will be able to see the bids submitted by the suppliers.
In a second, I'll place the bid. I'm waiting for the auction to start.
Sure thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So the auction, I think it just started, and as we see here, my colleague Alina has submitted the bid, and let's suppose that it has been bid submitted in error, and we have this functionality here to retract the last bid. So basically, you can inform the buyer that the bid has been submitted in error, either by the message center, which I showcased earlier, or by the chat functionality, and the buyer will simply click on this button, retract last bid, and we see here that the bid has been let's say, has been deleted, and we basically the supplier is free to resume its bids. So yes, definitely it is possible to cancel a bid.
Okay, so thank you very much, Eugene, for all the details that you've shown us and the presentation. Actually, this concludes our webinar, so I hope you find it useful. Again, thank you everyone for joining the webinar. We will send you the recording and hope to hear from you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.